already connections and stuff. I guess it's good now.
World.
What?
I'm trying to fix this real quick.
We have one viewer out. Alright, sorry.
Yeah, our internet's been really weird since we got home, like usual. I'll share it real quick. Yeah, sorry we're a few minutes late. Like I said, we just kind of got back at 8 something. We took a little trip to the Mothman stuff, and the kids are still, well, 2 still awake out of the 3. Trying to figure out which notebook. Okay, it's this one. Sure got all this ready.
Oh my god.
Okay, like I said, we're going to basically talk about his death, which we know, was a murder. But as like I said, you learn after the first video, he was found dead on the 16th, and as you know, it just passed, we're on the 20th, and he was found under the Fort Henry Bridge in downtown Wheeling. But he had told his friends he was catching a bus back to Kentucky, and one friend said Kyle told her this back when school let out, so just a few days, I'm not sure, like early June. But he was going to straighten his life out and that he wanted to do good. Like I said, this would have been probably, I'd say, right around school, like officially let out or at the end of May, like so whenever it happens. But the Kyle was blunt force trauma to the head. The local law enforcement found no weapon, and Kyle was not in possession of any form of ID or money. And the backpack he was supposed to have was not found either. This is from an article. I think in the next video we'll talk about some more stuff about it. So we'll talk about a little bit about the investigation. But next video is more in depth with it, which I've talked to some other people. We talked to one of his friends of like 2 years. That will be out July 3rd, and that will be on the podcast actually. From my understanding, a homeless man, because a lot of homeless people live underneath that bridge, and one of them is the one that found Kyle. And so my kind of thing, which I guess this would be a question for you, is, excuse me, do we believe this to be the crime scene? Because they don't really like, which in the interview I talk more about everything. Because, well, I can get my phone. Jesus.
Wouldn't it be more of just?
Well, that's. Let me see what video. Okay. Let me get the pictures real quick. Okay. You haven't really seen. Because there's the bridge, like underneath. Like there's a picture of underneath the bridge. This is where it this is from an article where it talks about, murder investigation. Because wait, is that steps? It doesn't really look like steps, does it? I know that's a wall, but that looks like more like.
That might just be like where water's coming down, like a drain pipe, sort of.
I'm not sure exactly where he's found, but there's kind of another picture. But you kind of see the walkway is blacktop and stuff. Like, so I'm not sure exactly where he was found at. Under there. But anyway, like I said, homeless people live under there probably, get out of weather and stuff like that. But with I really don't know if we believe it to be the crime scene. Like, you know what I
I don't
mean?
know.
My whole thing is that if homeless people frequent down there, and they say the area is kind of busy too. Like, I don't see, you know what I mean, like time to get down there, and depending on which way they came in.
Mm,
I don't know, but roughly around mid-July, some new facts would surface. A girl spoke with some investigators and informed that her ex-boyfriend was involved, and it would reveal an older lady, which was the boy's grandma, the one boy's grandma. She would transport Kyle and some other underage kids, which I'm assuming was the girl and her grandson, to Wheeling for $20 and an unknown amount of weed. She would be arrested on August 7th on charges of obstructing possession of Schedule II narcotics and contributing to delinquency of a minor. Obstruction and possession charges were dropped, and she entered a Kennedy plea, and she was just sentenced to 6 months. I The obstruction was basically for keeping information about the ride away from the cops for a few weeks. Like, I like I read in that where it mentions that. I think it might be in my other notes. But from my understanding, Kyle had contacted the boy who had, you know, talked to his grandma about giving the ride. They took him to Wheeling and was dropped off at a bus station. Moundsville to Wheeling is about 15, 20 minutes. And the investigator said Kyle left his phone in the car and they had disposed of it. And from my understanding, I've been told some like his wallet and stuff, and was all exposed by like I'm not sure how close to their house, but not too far from there, which is kind of fishy. But police were able to ping the cell phone, and it was recovered over a hillside at the near lady's home. And my thing is like, why? Like they disposed the phone, and like, why would they do that? Which I know in one of the articles.
why would they dispose of them? Why would they not? If they killed someone and had the phone.
Well, here's where it gets interesting. The news had asked the police if they felt those two killed Kyle, and he said he didn't believe that they did. Like, what would make you not believe that they did?
Because cops are shitty and don't want to do their job.
Yes. But it took, from my understanding, a week for him to be identified. So that's what's kind of fascinating. That it took that long. Because his mom had said that they had, like I think we talked in the first video, where, you know, the height's different and stuff, and they just thought he was a homeless person. But you could tell, like, he's young.
Yeah.
But no
Because
one.
we were talking about it, like, it would be comparing someone closer to my height to someone that's, like,
My height.
over 6 feet now.
But no one heard from him that rainy night, so it was raining too. So you'd think, though, depending on how bad it was raining, if homeless people are underneath that bridge, you know, they'd be out of the rain.
Yeah.
And depending on what happens, so it's basically, it's my understanding, the cops are basically saying they dropped him off at the bus station, and then they left, and then he got jumped after that. But from my understanding, that bus station had been closed for a while, which we'll talk about that more in the next video when they start investigating. But I read that one article mentions that more than 55,000 vehicles travel along that Interstate 70, and I assume that's daily. So that's a pretty well-traveled place. You know what I mean? Like I said, he was dropped off late in the evening. Uh, Homeless people have spoken rumors about other homeless people, and like I said, homeless people stay down there a lot. So I don't know if that's just them trying to get something out of it, blaming on somebody else or what. I'm not sure. Sorry if my hair's a mess. I have had hair. It was better
Do you
before.
just keep looking at it?
Yeah, well, I just noticed it was sticking up. Supposedly, Kyle told the others he was going to go ghost during the trip, and he planned to leave his phone in the car. He did take his black and red backpack and headphones with him, and he did smoke during the ride. So he was going to go ghost, so he leaves his car there. Couldn't he just like turn his phone off? like while he was found there. That's I'm believing
Yeah.
that's according to them that he said he was going to go ghost. But the grandma stated, this is where we were talking about the grandma. The grandma stated she was aware Kyle had been reported missing the following day. This is the whole obstruction, keeping away for weeks, and was found dead, but didn't report any information to the police. So if you knew that he was missing, knew that you had given him a ride, and why would you not? So basically, if it wasn't for the ex-girlfriend of her grandson, would they have ever brought that information out?
Hello. Got a thing.
Yeah, hello. That's what I'm not understanding. Is like why you know what I mean? Like throw stuff by their house, and they're hiding information like legit like, and the girl had to go to the police to say, hey, this is what's going on, and then so the police were like, oh, we would have known more if they would have said all this in the beginning. It's like the evidence is there. Like, even if they didn't do it, they're still prime suspects. They are the first people to, well, I mean, not the first, the last people to see him alive.
I know,
And to drop him, that's just.
even if they didn't, though, that could be why they're being so sketchy about it. Because they don't want to be pegged as suspects. Which they probably did it. I don't know. I have no idea yet, but
like you get rid of, like I said, you get rid of his stuff. Don't mention anything about it. So basically, girl gets away. So that probably means the boy had maybe some patrol, which kind of learn about.
Well,
that
even if they
on.
didn't kill him, they may have something bad may have happened that
my
they kind of
opinion
didn't want to be involved in.
With the interview I did the other day, that's kind of my opinion. Like, because here, she didn't report it. Then she said she should have said something, but didn't. So she admits that she should have said something. Okay, so the boy, which you'll learn their names later on, he had the one that Kyle had asked. He said he was feared. He feared dealing with the police, which is why he threw the phone over the hill. Okay, I can understand that. Some people do fear the cops. But if you have nothing to do with something, like if they would have dropped him off at the bus station, why didn't they? Like, I know they said he was gonna go ghost, but like I said, I don't see him leaving the phone in the car. And his mom says like he put it in his back pocket a lot. Like, I don't see him doing that, just leaving it there. If you're just gonna go ghost, like I'd still see him kind of telling somebody that he was leaving. Even if he was going to do that, right, to say, hey, I'm okay. You're not going to hear from me for a while. I'm going to be to myself, something like that. Like, I understand that. But he should, like, my thing is, if they noticed that he left his phone, they could have went right back there. Like, when did they notice? Say they got to their house and noticed that the phone. Like, were they afraid that, he wouldn't have been there, which I can kind of understand that. By the time I got back, he might have already been on the bus or something. But I don't know how the bus schedules would even be. Like, so that place was closed down.
Well, yeah, if they said it was closed, it's not true.
No, like permanently closed.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but there's a one I think right in the area though too, like another one. But she might have just thought it was open because she hadn't been there. Like, that's a possibility. But
yeah,
I'm not. Like I said, I'm not understanding. Like, say that even since they didn't go back, give them the phone, they could have still took it to the police. You know what I mean? Like, they could have took it to the police, said, hey, we gave this boy a ride to the bus station, talking about going to Kentucky, if he mentioned that, saying, hey, we have his phone. They could go through, the cops could go through it, find, I'm sure his mom, dad's number's on there, and say, hey, your son's phone was turned in by these people and stuff like that. That's what's just sketchy. It's like they had information and they hid it. Well, they had stuff and they hid it. Like, I don't understand this.
And tossed it.
Yeah, and tossed it. Like the proper way about that, they should have just took it somewhere, or even called, somebody on it themselves and say, hey, we have, Kyle's phone. What he wants to do with it. That's just my opinion. I talked to a lady. Let me see real quick. I don't know exactly. She writes a lot of. She's a true crime author and stuff, and she's on like a lot of stuff. But I was kind of trying to get her opinion. I asked some other people too about it, but none of them had got back with me yet. But she did. But she said she didn't really want to comment a whole lot since she don't know the case very well. But she's a professor of forensic psychology, and she's written over 60 books, more than 1,000 articles. Like, she knows her stuff. But I asked her opinion on it, and like I said, she didn't really want to give a whole lot, but I was kind of getting the feel of the crime scene because him getting covered and stuff like that. Because she said covering like that generally means care, like somebody cared, but no guess, is 100% accurate. So that's a very possibility. But there would have to be other indicators of protection. Under the bridge could be one. So we know he was covered and under a bridge. So to her, in a way, that could possibly point to, which I don't know.
Well, I've always heard that too.
Yeah.
Like how serial killers or something, like some of them will do the person's makeup or nails and stuff like that is because they feel remorse after.
Yes, like that's one way of looking at it. Feeling remorse. Because usually, like when it comes to serial killers, like look at, a lot of them. Like if there's no connection to them, what do? They leave them. They leave them out in the open, like they don't care because there's no connection. And some leave evidence
So
behind.
apparently, it was someone who like felt remorse.
That's
and
why I'm
cared
wondering.
about the body.
Like, was the boy? Were they friends? I've heard they wasn't. I've heard they was. So, but they still have a connection. So maybe that's why, or even if it wasn't that the boy didn't care, maybe like you said, like there's still a connection, remorse to it, or maybe thinking maybe that was kind of the way of getting away from it, the crime scene before anybody's seen anything. I talked to another boy. He mentioned that he thought maybe that Kyle hadn't even made it alive to there. But I would think though, if he was killed in the car, which I doubt the cops probably searched it, and I'm
Probably
sure they would
not.
have. I'm sure they would have cleaned everything
Of course
out.
not.
So that's why I'm not. You would think with you're looking at least 3 possible people seeing him alive, hiding information like we've talked, and disposing of some of his belongings. Why, why were they not prime suspects? Like, is there any like DNA did they collect? That could tie them in. Like, why does the cops feel that they're not involved? Because apparently they were hiding
Maybe
something
the
not to
cops
go.
covering for them, like
A lot
if
of
they're
this,
friends with the families or something.
I've actually, I asked that in the interview if there might be some higher up connection because
Oh yeah.
there's some things like that does happen. There's a higher connection. Like I said, our next video is going to go more into the investigation of how the cops handled it, and some more stuff I found out and talking with other people. If there's like that, these are add-ons. This is stuff after I wrote the part and I found some more stuff out and talking about. So I'm just kind of wondering, which I did talk to before we go. I talked to a guy, like I posted in a group about it. I didn't really get any information really. So somebody messaged me and said, hey, talk to this guy. Well, I messaged him, and I guess he's a writer in that area. But he didn't really give a whole lot, and I guess I knew more about the case than he did, sadly, because he was saying that Kyle's grandmother, that he heard evidence point to Kyle's grandmother, because I was like, the other
Like
boy,
Kyle's grandma killed him?
yeah, and I was like, the other
Oh.
boy's grandma, because he just said grandma, but it said evidence points to his grandmother or a local, well, he says a local panhandler, so that would be a homeless person.
Yeah.
Which with the homeless, I kind of wonder what the rumors are that they shared between each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like we said,
Yeah.
like was homeless people just like, hey, it was him, just so he could take the stuff, like trying to get somebody else in trouble, or saying, hey, I got information, give me some money. You know what I mean? Kind of like how inmates do when they say, oh, they confessed to me. The cellmate
Yeah.
things.
I mean, maybe if someone offered him money or like food or like something.
Yeah, they could be like, oh, this guy
Yeah.
done it, give me some money because I got information. But yeah, when I asked if it was the other boy's grandmother, and he said no. Well, he kind of was kind of blunt about it, but he said the dead guys, and I'm like,
That's really fucking rude.
I know, but then I mentioned about I've never heard of that,
Like, that's not even blunt.
and
That's just
I mentioned
rudeness.
about the boy, the other boy, and I was like, his grandmother had some evidence against her, and he's like, oh, you know as much as I do, but you just basically said another completely grandparent, because I'm sure that Kyle's actual grandparent did not do nothing.
Not a
But
good source. Ignore all that.
yeah, that one, yeah. But one thing though, he did tell me that I thought was interesting, that the Wheeling Police Department refused the cold case and task force help. So they refused, which
Because they're hiding something. I think it's
possibly.
internal job.
Well, he said to find his mother, Kyle's mother. She wants, like, I've talked to her, like she's a really nice lady and stuff, and she's and with all this going on, it's very very hard. Just with them refusing, it's either like you said, maybe they are hiding something.
Would have to be. Why would they refuse extra help? Because that would take the weight off them.
It could be that,
unless they're not wanting someone to see, because then they'd all get reported and get shut down and fired. And
well, it could just be the ego thing.
I don't think so.
A lot of the police departments are like that. They're like, "Oh, this is in my town. I can solve it myself." Like that does happen. It don't have it's gotten better because back when like a lot of the serial killers and stuff were like going weird and stuff. They were basically no police department would actually talk. But
I know what you're saying, but I feel like they're just hiding.
Well, overall, because let me see, it might be in the next video. I think it's in the next video. But what I know on the case, it might not be that they're hiding of who done it. It could be more of hiding because they could be really, really like a shitstorm blow up just over how they handled the case. So it could be in a hiding of something like that. You know what I mean?
Let's go egg them.
Basically, like them not doing a proper investigation, which, that reminds me, for another thing I want to address in this episode, I just thought of it. Sorry, I ramble on a lot. But in a way, though, because the boy wasn't much older than Kyle. So, like, so they could have, even if they didn't like each other, could have been friends or something. But maybe, like I said, I could see it more being more remorse with the covering up.
Yeah, like someone
because
close to
which
them.
they could be care though, because since they knew each other, but they don't seem if they had beef between. But the Wheeling Police Department. I'm not saying I don't want to throw them out there. You know what I mean?
No, I do.
Well, I don't want to say they're. Some places are good, some places bad, but their
That's
rating
true,
they have 10 ratings on Google, and out of 10 stars, they're 5 stars. I mean, they have a 2.9.
Some are good and some are bad, but they're bad. So
one report was 3 months ago. Went to file a police report as my car was vandalized. When I went into the office, I explained my case to the gentleman in the office who went to notify the policeman behind a closed door. I could hear the policeman griping about how they don't want to deal with my case. To further add insult to injury, they proceeded to play rock, paper, scissors to figure out who was going to deal with her that night. Sad to hear this from individuals who are supposed to serve and protect. This person said they got a 5-star there. St. Police of Wheeling are really nice and also want to, say the Blue Lives Matter. Also, stay safe, fellow officers. This gentleman posted 2 months ago, better luck doing it yourself. This person posted a year ago, concerned citizens. I posted a question that you might be seeking as well. Has anyone tried to use the Wheeling Police Department for anything other than emergency? The last 2 times I tried to get assistance with reasonable issues, I've been treated like a criminal. Now, bear in mind that I don't like to use that department for anything other than emergencies. It takes a lot for me to seek assistance from police officers, and although that statement may sound biased, it's not. Give everyone an equal opportunity. If anyone else is noticing about their behavior as well, please reply. It'd be nice to think that people who enter the public service appreciate doing service for their public. So that this one a year ago starting to look like a rap video with how much they waste on ghetto frying their patrol cars. Behavior reflects the same.
what?
Wait, how much they waste ghetto fine. Wait, get a fine. There. Oh, okay, get a
Oh,
fine. Okay,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
That took a minute.
So basically, just fixing up the car. Okay. Though this person gave a good review, but this one gave 4. Then they have a lot of plenty officers. But like what we talked about in the first video, like they're on their 4th. He's on his 4th investigator, and it's literally just turned 4 years 4 days ago. Like, which I think some of them did move up. Which yeah, that could explain it. But like finding out some other things, like you're kind of wondering, like, do they not write nothing down? Like, do they honestly or just goes away with everything? Like, if I was a police officer, I would try to find every angle I could, take notes, write all the notes down. And if, say, that I happen not to be on the case anymore, whoever took it over, I would try to go out of my way when I had time to let them know, hey, these are some other notes, or if they don't have everything, let them know and stuff like that. But them saying that they can't go to sleep at night because of this case, and literally nothing's been done in so long now, you're kind of wondering, like, where does it fall? Like, why? Like, what are they doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
It's a 15-year-old child. Well, he's a teenager, but he's still a child. Like, he's 15 years old.
yeah.
Like, I'm not understanding. Like, I can't wrap my mind how, which it happens a lot, but you think, though, with a younger person, that they would try anything and everything and update people, and which maybe they have stuff that they just don't want to share at the moment, but you still think something would come up and they would say something about it, or are they just wanting somebody else to solve it? But you think,
Well, obviously not because they're denying help. But
yeah, with him saying it, that's a writer from, like I said, from I think Wheeling area.
you're talking about the Fred guy.
Yeah, I don't give names.
Oh, my bad. Fuck that guy anyways, though. What an asshole.
Yeah. Well, the way he said that was not fair. Like, it was more of a blunt statement.
I just be exposing people on accident. I'm sorry. But you deserve it.
In case somebody messaged me about this, but I'm hoping, like I said, I know not a lot. I've seen a few articles and stuff on. I'm hoping our videos and the podcast episode, and we probably have more interviews. Like, there's going to be different angles, like than like our other videos. You've watched them. Like, we might talk about things over again a little bit, or if we talk to other people, we might talk about our same thoughts on it. But I'm hoping to get this out there, so maybe somebody will speak up. But if you want to contact us, we will try to help get the information to where it needs to go. And like I said, we have another video planned for next Saturday. So everything as of right now is good for it to go. I guess it's been a long week. And like I said, we just got back like 2 hours before it started and all that fun stuff. Which next weekend we got stuff going on as well. So
I don't think it'd be as late, possibly, though.
unless I play cards all night.
So what he's saying
It
might be a
should.
postpone.
Even if we do these videos live just in case anybody wants to interact with us. But
We also can't upload it very well with our crappy internet.
well, uploads, but it takes forever. It seems like. But like I said, if anybody wants to comment on it, which I have a little notepad here. If anybody has questions that I can write down and try to find an answer for. But basically, even if it's later, we'll try to be on next Saturday into Sunday and talk about it and get everything rolling. Because like I said, the next video is going to be his investigation. The event page will come up. I think I have it scheduled for Monday or like 8 in the morning.
So it's going to be exposing.
It's not that. Well, this video went a little bit into investigation, but it's going to go into more about some other things I read and was told and stuff like that, and I wrote down. But like I said, just keep in mind with what we talked about with the whole how he was found, stuff like that, because that could play a major key in this, and again, it may not. So I'm still thinking, because I don't see a homeless person unless it'd be more. If a homeless person, that'd be more remorse. But I just don't. I don't know. We'll talk about the next video with all that. But we thank everybody for tuning in, and like I said, hopefully. Like I said, we got the next video, and then the podcast episode comes out, like I said, on the 3rd, so it'll be right before July 3rd, which I talked to the girl for about an hour. Like I said, really good conversation. But one thing, the call app I use, it's better than the old one I used, but I found the best way is like to listen to it on the app, or you might have to use headphones because sometimes I don't talk very loud, so I have a low speaking, well, soft spoken voice is what I've been told. Um, so it might be a little hard to hear, but when I listen to it on my phone, it sounded fine. Like I can hear it, but you might have to use headphones or something. But it's a very good interview. And like I said, we talked a lot about many things about the case. But like I said, we thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all later.